Oman, professionally, financially, and emotionally, has been a very big change for me. I mean, I have, whatever I am is because I came to Oman.
The 18th of November is Omani National Day, and there's no better time to have a discussion with a group of non-Omanis who have made Oman their home. So starting from my immediate right, we have Malin, otherwise known as the Mapping Lady, who has been living in Oman since 1978 and making maps of this beautiful country. Next, we have Aslam, who has been in Oman since he was 3 months old, and since then, he's climbed up the corporate ladder until he became the CEO of Salman Stores. Next, we have Dr. Mona Ismail, who has inspired countless Omani creatives by being the Dean of the Scientific College of Design, and who has made Oman her home since 1973 when she was only 1. Last but not least, we have Christopher Lobo, who has been in Oman since 1983 and has even worked with the royal family at the Royal Court Affairs. So welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we will start with the first question. What is your story and how did you end up here in Oman?
Okay, I'll start with me. To be honest, it was not planned, nothing planned. Well, I was young at that age, maybe 21 when I came here. And just to tell you that you were not allowed to work if you're 21. When I came in, you had to be 25. It was here and in Saudi Arabia. So I had to do something, which I won't tell you, but I came in. When I say fluke, it was a friend of mine who was actually interested in coming to the Gulf, because way back then in India, if you talk about the Gulf, they had a wrong notion about going to the Gulf because it has been very strict and, the punishment is very severe. Besides that, the reason I was with this friend was he was interested in coming, and he had a motorcycle which he couldn't ride. So I was riding it for him, and I was very happy doing that. And so this guy, he goes to the place where the interview was taken. Without me knowing, he gave my name also that, let this guy give an interview. We were working together. We did our engineering together. And then, let me cut the story short. We had about 3-4 interviews, and sadly for him, unfortunately, he was not selected, and they asked me to come. Now, that was another, I was in a dilemma whether I can go. I asked my mother, and she said, no, you being a mischievous guy, please don't go there. And I said, no, but mommy, I require the money. So, I have to do my future. And I came, and then it was a 2-year visa then, just a 2-year visa. I said, okay, let's try it for 2 years. So that was in 83, and it's still I have not completed 2 years, still here. And when I came, it was in this month, in fact, very close to the National Day. I think it was the 17th. And I could see it like a fairyland, though there was not much of, decorations and all that lighting at that time. But the airport itself was quite, attractive. And I said, oh, I've come to a lovely place. By the way, I didn't know where was Oman then. So, I came, and I came in for a private company then. And after 2 days, they sent me to Abri, which I thought Muscat would be great, but they sent me to Abri. Now, Abri is about 400 kilometers away. And at that time, it took us about 8 hours to travel from Muscat to Abri. So I said, where am I going? I mean, I didn't come to this place. But anyway, we had a contract with all the GTOs. They were called GTOs at that time, which is Omantel today, a General Telecommunication Organization. So I was in Abri, Sur, Sohar, Nizwa, Buremi, and Masira for 3 months each to commission the air conditioning system of the GTO buildings. And yeah, from there I started my career. It was quite difficult in Hebrides without a driving license and all that. Anyway, I managed. And then we happened to get a contract to build one of the Highness's palace or villa in Al-Hail Sea, Okay, I can mention His Highness Sayyid Thuwaini bin Shihab. That's His Majesty's uncle. He's no more. May his soul rest in peace. But it was his palace. And I don't know why he took a liking to me when we were in the process of building his palace. He asked me to join him as his personal staff for the maintenance, which I couldn't refuse, to be honest with you. And so, 1984, I joined him. I worked there with him, looking after, taking care of his properties for 12 years. And I said, okay, it's enough now. Let me go back, because it was not easy there. And I went back. After I went back 2 months, Diwan called me to work for. So I said, okay, I'm getting back to the same thing. I said, okay, I accepted that job. I came back in after 2-3 months. And the next day, Diwan sent me to Beit al-Barka. So I started Beit al-Barka, and I finished off with them in 2000. That is my short story for the moment. I think others are there, so let them carry on.
Dr. Mona, would you like to tell your story?
Yeah, sure. I came to Oman with my parents. My dad was recruited to do urban planning in the 70s. So we came in 73. He joined the ministry for a couple of years, and then he started his own architectural engineering consultancy firm, Mona Ismail Consultant. We've been here ever since. I went to school here, and then I went to study abroad in the U.S. And then I came back. I worked a bit in Egypt. I stayed for 2 years, I think, and I had a hard time adjusting. I really had a hard time. I was used to living in Oman, so I came back again to Oman, and I joined the Scientific College of Design, and I've been ever here since ever.
For me, actually, my father came in 1973. He came in very young, and he joined Ministry of Electricity and Water. He got married in 1984. This is what I'm told. Then I was born in 1986. And then I think 3 months after that, my mother came and joined him. I think they kept a gap of about this long to when my mother was still there in Pakistan. I'm a Pakistani, actually. And then, so I came when I was like 3 months old. So since kind of birth. So I don't remember anything else seeing when I grew up here in Oman. I only remember what all I saw. We were living in Matra at that time. My father was still working in the Ministry of Electricity until very long. I think he worked there for about 20 years. So there was this policy of the housing allowances and all. But they had this compound in Matra where we were staying. It was really nice. And I grew up there. And I think after I finished my school from Pakistan School, Muscat, I went to Pakistan for my engineering and came back since then. Again, I think the same issue, couldn't handle the other country, couldn't adjust, so I had to come back. Although I stayed jobless for a very long time, but still that was okay. Why? Because it felt like coming back home, right? So since then I've been here, and I got married here. I found my wife here. My sisters are settled here, so it's more like, it's more like the entire family is settled here. So it's a good thing, yeah.
I came here in 1978. My husband was already here, and it took me quite a long time to make up my mind to join him. I think a cold weather in England decided me. It was like -18 at the time, and I decided that I'd already been out on a visit. I would rather be too hot than too cold. But as Chris was saying, no one had heard of Oman in those days. I had to get the Phillips Atlas out and to see where it was. I don't even think it said Muscat and Oman in the old Phillips Atlas. And whoever we asked, no one seemed to know until I actually bumped into some air stewardesses one day, and they happened to fly out here, and they told me about the old airport. You must have, your parents must have come in through that airport, and so yes, we decided that he would come first, my husband, and I would think about it. You know, it was a big step, bringing 3 young children, uprooting them from England. And so we supposedly were going to be here just for 2 years, you see. And here I am now, still here. One thing led to another. After a few months, I got a job with Oman Television. You actually, in those days, I think, particularly with a woman, you had to be here for 12 months. You weren't allowed to work for 12 months, but somehow it was a little bit different. They accepted me, and I started straight away because they urgently needed someone on the production side. And yes, I stayed with Oman Television for coming up here for 26 years. So why am I still here? We'll probably get onto this later, but my eldest daughter married an Omani, so I have 2 fantastic Omani granddaughters. So, obviously I wanted to stay here.
Could you discuss with the group what challenges you have faced when trying to settle in Oman permanently?
If you ask me, I have never had any problems, actually, because the people are so good. My only problem, of course, is when I came was the language. Because I was in the interior and people there used to not speak any other language, After that, I was forced to actually, to converse with the locals. I was forced to learn Arabic. And I think my Arabic is better than Hindi now.
Oh, that's nice.
So that was the only challenge. But other than that, I don't think I had any other problem. Personally, I didn't have any problems.
And honestly, I grew up here, so I fit in well with my peers at school. We were lucky enough. Back then, there was the Sultan School. So I was lucky enough. Before that, I think there was a school in Matrah, if I remember. We stayed there for a year, and then we shifted. I think most of the students were with me, and we stayed in Sultan School, a group of us from 3rd grade till we graduated from high school. So I fit, I think, well with the since I grew up here. Yeah. I don't think there's any challenges that I have.
Very similar, actually. Yeah. Grew up here, so it was a natural fit.
Yeah.
So I think, as I said, that it was very difficult for me to stay in Pakistan for those 4 years because I could not adjust with that culture. I could not find shawarma, for example, right? Still at that time, shawarma was not there in Pakistan. Now there are many joints. Or I would say I could not find thali, which was a very common thing, it's still a common thing. So yeah, it was a very natural growth. So can't call it a challenge. Natural challenges that happens with anyone in any country. Yeah, I think that was the case, but nothing is specific to Oman.
Well, I found that schooling was a problem. I had 3 children. The youngest was able to go to the British school. I think it was just the British school and the Sultan school, mainly for expats in those days. And my son, he went to to Dubai College, which had just opened. We wanted to keep the family together. And then my eldest daughter was homeschooled here with some other children similar age. I don't know whether you call it a challenge, but we didn't have access to any Western food. in those days. We didn't have wonderful supermarkets. There was just one main supermarket in Rui, Matra cold stores, where we did most of our shopping. And there's a lack of fresh fruit and vegetables. All we could get was dates and limes. Everything else had to be imported, and it was very expensive. Even eggs had to be imported, and they were very expensive. Couldn't get sliced bread or any McVitie's biscuits or Heinz beans or anything like that. So whenever we went back to the UK, our suitcases would be jam-packed with food, you know. And we used to get, there was a butcher's next to our Falash Hotel where we would buy a whole a whole lamb. They'd be very small. And yes, so that was a bit of a problem. And when I was interviewed, the company that employed my husband interviewed me before I came out. And the wife of the CEO stressed that life would be very different for me. You know, would I be able to sort of hack it? No balls here, leave your ball gowns behind. You can't wear any makeup because it will just fall off your face, you know, that sort of thing. And she said, your life would be very different. And it sort of made me feel uneasy, but, you know, it was fine when I got here. But we had to make our own entertainment in those days. There was just the Intercon, the Al Falaj, the Rui, and the Matra Hotel. Yeah. And we used to eat at the Omar Khayyam. A lot of people remember.
The Rui
I think it's still there.
No, it's the restaurant.
The Omar Khayyam and the Rui was a very popular place in those days, especially for families on a Thursday, because our weekend was Thursday and Friday then. And it was a family day. And it was run by a Scottish couple, Morag and Jim, and we had great fun there, lovely memories. In fact, those days stick out in my mind because we had to find our own entertainment. We entertained at home a lot. There were, like, in England, we call them working men's clubs.
Oh, yeah.
Companies had clubs in Wadi Kabir. W.J. Towell had a club here, and so we'd take the children down there for toasted sandwiches and to watch a movie.
How about Mina Alpha?
Sorry?
Mina Alpha at the PDO club.
I didn't go there very often, but we were very we were friendly with a lot of people at the naval base in Muscat, the old naval base. Yeah. So we used to go there. They held lovely parties on the roof, and we watched movies there. We went on banyans with them, and they were nice days actually. And you know what? The Matra Hotel was the best place to eat in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their lobster thermidor was just fantastic.
Yeah.
The Al Falash Hotel, they started to put on a lot of entertainment. The first rock group appeared there, Status Quo, in the 80s, can you imagine? Yes. And they came back several times afterwards, Status Quo, so they must have liked Oman a lot. But,
And Bonnie M was here then.
Sorry?
Bonnie M. Have you heard?
Did they come out? Yes, they did. But
they were in that.
Was it at the Al Falaj or was it in the Intercontinental?
No, at the exhibition center, the old exhibition center.
Oh right, okay.
Opposite the airport.
Yes, and then we had a woman here, a very good businesswoman. She had the only boutique in town at the Intercon, Panache, and she would put on fashion shows. I would host them, but put on lovely fashion shows at the Intercon. And also Derek Nimmo used to come out to entertain, dinner theatre, and of course Judith Razak, you must know Judith. She put on wonderful plays, starting, I think, beginning in the 80s, for 25 years, I think. So they were nice days, actually. Yes. They were very nice days.
Yeah, I remember Al Falaj. We actually learned how to swim in Al Falaj. It was either that or the beaches. And then the Intercontinental came about, and it was, the hottest spot. And then there was a Dairy Queen in Madinat Qaboos. And these were just the entertainment weekend outings, I remember. So again, it was a group of families, of Egyptian families, and we met every weekend over the beach, and I had to just make up and entertain ourselves.
We used to refer to Oman in those days as our secret paradise.
True.
It was a paradise.
It was. It is still actually, in a way.
Yeah, but we didn't have any tourists then, so
it
was very quiet. Yeah. We had it to ourselves. So
the tourists didn't know there was Oman.
No, they began to come in Mid-80s,
Yes.
elite tourism.
Yes.
Yes, very elite people came here. They're very rich. Yeah.
But we've watched this Muscat, especially Muscat, transform into a place where my mom used to bake the bread because the bakery closed at 8 o'clock or something like that. From what I can remember, her sharing with us. We've seen this nice transformation, and I think this is what really makes us appreciate the Renaissance in this country on so many levels. Hospitals. We just talked about entertainment, but so other levels. Health. When we first started, it was Khawla, I think, and Nahda. Now we have all these, not just governmental, but all these private institutions for health, education. Education being my field. I feel that even within this last 20 years, I started in the education field in 2004, and now in 2024, a big jump in the higher education sector.
Yes.
Look at how many institutions we have, and look at the standards and the accreditation, the quality of education. So I think we witnessed, this transformation of, when my kids complain about we don't know where we should go and we don't have anything to do. I remember having just that one center that we used to go to, and then after that, it was the SAPCO. That was the hot spot.
Yeah.
The
Al-Rami came.
yeah,
and then
Al-Rami back
Harthi
then.
came.
Yeah,
Now
that
it's
ice cream shop in
it's called
SAPCO.
Softy.
Yeah,
And
and
Softy.
Softy. Yeah, I was in Rui the other day, and I saw Softy. I was like, flashbacks.
I still
memories.
buy. If I pass by Rui, I always stop my car and I buy
Get
that cool.
Really?
It's called the OC Center, by the way, now. It was OK. OK was Oman and Kuwait.
Yes.
Now it is OC.
Oh, really? I didn't
Kuwait
realize
has
that.
gone, yeah.
And the Oxford Street of Oman was Rui High Street, of course.
Oh, yeah.
We used to go to, it was very dusty, wasn't it, in those days?
Oh,
Very
yes,
dusty.
yeah. That was the only street as happening place, rather, actually, Rui Street. Now it is the Love Street, I think, which is in Shati. The Omanis call it Love Street. I don't know why, but that's it. Yeah.
It's a scenic route. Maybe
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why.
Maybe.
We can now move on to the next question. What culture shocks did you face when coming to Oman for the first time?
Well, I think sitting on the floor and eating with fingers was a bit of a shock. I don't know if you describe it as being a culture shock, but I was shocked to see so many police women in 1978 in driving around in cars, directing traffic. I remember on the Rue roundabout, it was just a dirt roundabout in those days, to see a woman there. Coming from the West, I had this impression that, Arab ladies were stuck in the home and they didn't do anything. So that was quite a shock for me. Amazing. And then when I started work, most of my colleagues were women, and women were driving themselves to work in banks. There were a couple of undersecretaries at that time. I didn't expect this at all. And it was quite a shock. I think those things stand out in my mind.
See, in my case, it's very different because for me, what all I saw here was the culture for me. So yes, I had a lot of cultural shocks when I go out. I get shocked at why this is happening, why it's not like Oman. Even in other Khaliji countries at times, honestly speaking. But for me, the culture is what I have seen here. So culturally, I'm very well aligned with what's going on there. So yeah.
I felt it actually when I started working, and when I host people over at the college, and I realized that there are rules for serving coffee, and you should wait till all the guests arrive until you start serving people. And in Egypt, usually we just serve as people come in. And they were telling me, you should wait. I was like, why wait? They're here. They might as well drink. Things like that. feeling the amount of the coffee in the cup, the twirling of the cup, to signify that you've had enough. All these customs, I think I started learning when I started working. So I have all these, I'm not shocks, but differences in culture, and I had to adjust. Specifically when you have something like a formal gathering and you have to go, by the customs, and you have to respect everyone so that no one gets offended.
For me, culture shock is actually when I go back home, it's a culture shock for me because I keep wondering why doesn't this happen way back in my country? I mean, not that there's no culture there is, but I'm so used to, as you said, I've got used to this. But then there were certain things like when you're talking to someone, especially a person of on a high category, let's say the royal family or ministers or something. When normal in India or anywhere, I don't know, in Europe also it must be the same. We look into the eyes and we talk. Mm-hmm. That's the straight talk. That's what I thought. But here, no. Yeah. I said, no. And I said, why? For me, it is like, when you don't look into my eyes, that means you are sly. You're not ready to really actually listen to me. But then I was told this, and of course, I think it has changed now. I really don't know, but I didn't bother. I kept looking at people's eyes, and that is what I found a bit of, culturally for us, where we came from. I look into your eyes and I talk to you. So those sort of things.
But once you understand it, you accept it. Once you understand why, you accept it.
I mean, if you don't like it, obviously, I'm not going to do it. Mm-hmm. But then it's not with everyone. I think it's the people up higher,
Yeah, but you reminded me. I went back to see my mother about 6 years ago, and to the UK, and she actually passed away when I was with her. And so we had a lot to do with the lawyers and funeral directors, and we made several visits to the funeral directors and the lawyers. And of course, I was in a state of grief. And each time I came away from a meeting, I felt there was something missing, and I couldn't think what it was, couldn't put my finger on it. It wasn't until I was on the plane on the way back that I realised, would you go to, well, we don't have funeral directors here, but if we did, can you imagine sitting through meetings and not being offered coffee or tea, or dates? Not once. I was quite upset. Not once did anyone offer me a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. And I thought it seemed very cold, and this is what I love about it. I love that tradition here, especially in the ministries where you've got the finjans and the proper Omani coffee. I hope that never dies out. I love it.
Would you like us to pour you some coffee?
I wouldn't mind. Yes, thank you.
That was a hint.
But I do get a bit of a shock each time I go back.
Yes.
In what ways do you feel Omani, and in what ways do you feel like an outsider?
Well, I don't really feel like an outsider because I've been here for so long. And the fact that I've got 2 Omani grandchildren, it made a difference, to my life. And most people that know me and know I've been here for so long, you probably have the same remark.
Oh, yes.
They come and they'll often say, you're one of us, you're Omani.
True.
That's repeated almost on a daily basis, which is a lovely compliment. It's very nice. But, I must always remember, I never forget that I am a guest, regardless of anything. I'm still a guest here.
Me too.
Unless you've got Omani National citizenship, you have to respect that.
Yeah.
Similar, actually. So, not that I find something different as compared to being an Omani, but it would be more on the lines of that I still find myself a guest.
Oh, yes.
Sorry?
So, I'm a guest here, a very comfortable guest. I think the country is also very comfortable. I'm comfortable. I think this marriage continues for as long as possible. But the reality is there where there is a certain nationality, which is a technical thing in your life, right? So you have that option to move around and all. But not that, if I have to be very technical about, might be some career opportunities that may become a bit different if I hold the passport, as what they say when you immigrate to another country. Apart from that, I don't think so. I lead a 100% Omani company today, which I'm very proud of, and I don't think so that if I wouldn't have spent this long in Oman, they would have interested, to have me to run that. But not really in any other sense. Yeah.
I don't. I really don't feel like I'm a guest. I feel like I belong here, even though I have my Egyptian nationality. I don't have an Omani passport or anything. And even my dad, a lot of his friends used to ask him, why don't you get the Omani nationality? And he would say, I don't need it because I'm living among them as an Omani national, as equal. I really don't need to seek the nationality. I honestly don't feel like I'm a guest. I feel like I belong here somehow. The only time I feel like I'm not Omani maybe is the dialect when I'm around Omanis and I don't get what they're saying. I don't talk the Omani dialect. I kept my Egyptian dialect, and because at school and anywhere, everyone understood my Egyptian Arabic, so there was no point. My siblings talk Omani, even my kids. And when they want to tease each other and they don't want me to understand, they talk to each other in Omani slang, so I don't get it. But I think this is the only thing. I never even regretted not learning the dialect. Just once we have a hearing impaired program at the college. And one of during the initiation of the program, they said that they would prefer to have an Omani national because they read lips. So this was the only time I really regretted not learning it. But I don't feel, I think this is the only time the language barrier, but I don't think at all that I'm a guest. I feel like I fit well, I belong here. In comparison to Egypt, it's a much more quieter, easygoing environment. And I always say even the small details over here are much more simpler than over there. And I think this is why people have a hard time when they're brought up in Oman to go somewhere else, because life is very simplified and easy.
I feel an outsider when I'm in India, actually. Honestly speaking, because, being here, like all of us, I am more comfortable here. People don't know me there, including my own cousins and whoever you talk about, the family, immediate family. And I'll give you one example. We were in Egypt on the cruise. And my wife was very happy because I know to speak Arabic, so it's much comfortable there when they know you speak Arabic. And there was this one guy I spoke to near the pyramids after our cruise, and he asked me, when? I said, in Oman. Inta Omani? I said, Kif, how do you know? You know what he told me? He said, you speak like an Omani. So I asked him, Shakil Kif, Shakil. Then he says, Amitabh Bachchan. So I said, Amitabh Bachchan is not from Oman. You know Amitabh Bachchan?
Yeah, of course.
You should. So, and then, if you're talking of Omani and outsider, that difference, I feel the difference only certain times. Like, I'll give you an example. When I'm at the airport, I have to stand in a different queue. And when I see there's nobody in the other queue where it is for nationals, that's where I feel I should have had a passport. That's the only time. But otherwise, no. And people they, as you said, and they always say, no, you're here. So enter Omani. Have you got a passport? That's the next thing they ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to get into that. So I said, no, I'll get it now. Next month I'll be getting it. I just finish it off there. But they accept you so well. And so
Yes, they do.
nowhere an outsider here.
How has life changed in Oman since you moved here until now?
And I touched a bit on that. A lot, in I think almost all sectors, in education, in health. Life has totally changed. It's got a little bit crowded. Sometimes when we get stuck in traffic, we say, "Is this Oman? No way! Why are we stuck in this traffic?" Coming from a heavily populated city myself. But I think there's a lot of changes in the sectors. Maybe I talked about the education. Maybe someone else would like to talk about something else.
I have a story here. So what happened is that I came when I was like a couple of months old. And very soon after that, I was diagnosed with very serious asthma condition. And my parents thought that it would be better to take me back, and then took me back to Pakistan for about 2 months. And then it started getting better, and then they brought me back again here. And it turns out that it became very serious, and I used to have those breathing,
Apparatus.
attacks and all, and they had to take me to Nakhda. And for me, I think the biggest, and of course my parents are very thankful for that. So Nakhda was the first point of contact that it happened, and then they referred me to Sultan Qaboos Hospital. It was newly made at that time.
Yes.
There were amazing doctors who came in from Egypt, India mainly. And then there was an Indian doctor who actually treated me. And somehow the asthma, which was supposed to be with me for the rest of my life, kind of disappeared when I was 5 years old. And so for our family, I'm the only son. For my parents, so it was like a very touchy thing for them. That was a big thing that my parents still talk about, because my father says that if he wouldn't have moved here, and if this wouldn't have happened, the condition that I had did not have a cure in Pakistan, actually. So this particular doctor in Sultan Qaboos was able to cure it. For me that was a very big thing.
Well, apart from hospitals, clinics, universities, resorts, beautiful residential areas, we now have access to the best supermarkets in the world, hypermarkets. There was only one TV channel when I came here until 1990, when the Gulf War broke out, and then we got CNN and all the other channels.
Yeah.
Only one radio station. The roads, oh my God, they're the best in the world. I mean, we're number 7. We're ranked as number 7, having the best quality roads in the world out of 144 countries that were monitored. And that really is incredible. In 50 years, we've been able to achieve that. Because when we came here, there was just the road to Sur, which was really dangerous, snaky road all the way to Sur, and lots of accidents on that. And the road to Soha in the UAE, and the road to Niswa and Salalah. And they're all very bad. And, if you went to the UAE or you went to Niswa, you had to be sure to be back before dark, because no lights in those days.
Yes.
No street lighting.
Yes.
Very dangerous. There's been a huge difference there. And of course, under His Majesty Haytham, the focus has been on economic diversification, and I think he's made a huge difference in his short term of office. And I think that he will go on to make more huge advances in that area. And tourism is just creeping up each year. People do know about Oman now.
Oh,
I mean,
yes,
I was in a cafe in Vienna last week, And I suddenly heard the name Oman behind me, the table. And it was a family, they just come back from Oman. So people do know about Oman now.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We're doing a good job marketing it, I think. And I try to do my best with my maps. So yes, it's been an incredible. I feel so privileged to have been here to witness a country build up from nothing. And I mean, we had these 5-year plans, which were very well made. We didn't spring up overnight. You know, everything was done slowly but steadily and well. Everything was done very well, I think. And I just feel it's an honour how many people get the chance to witness that in their lifetime. It's incredible, really. Yeah.
True.
As for me personally, Oman professionally, financially, and emotionally has been a very big change for me. I mean, whatever I am is because I came to Oman, okay? And I respect that. And my wife tells me I've become a better person also. So I don't know what sort of person I was earlier, but I have calmed down for sure. And so for me personally, it has made a lot of difference. And I'm so thankful to the government and to the lovely people of Oman, which is, I always appreciate that. And as I said, I try to promote Oman as much as from my small way when I meet people outside and ask them to come in to see, because they take the GCC to be one, and that is not right. But after they come here, there are many people who have come and changed their opinion about the GCC, or rather at least of Oman. So personally, yes, I have benefited, and thank you. That's it I can say to Oman.
What keeps you living in Oman after all these years?
The environment, I think.
Oh, yes.
I think the environment, I just mentioned the people. I think Omanis are one of the most kindest people. We shouldn't make generalization, I know, but I think a very friendly environment, a very safe environment. I remember up until maybe a couple of years ago, we didn't close our house doors. We left our door open, the house door open.
And the car door.
Yes.
So we felt very safe. And also, I think I mentioned that a bit earlier, living here is very easy in comparison to other cities. In grocery shopping, going to malls, work, business. I know we always complain that there is a lot of labor laws over here, but they're still much better than in other countries where people go on months and months to get anything accomplished. If you want to get we plan. They always think I'm crazy when I'm in Egypt and I plan the day in the morning and say, okay, I want to do this, and that, and they tell me one thing. You get to do one thing every day. By the good time you move from one place to the next, or you have to finish a governmental paper or something, you can accomplish one thing a day. So for me, I think this is the environment. This type of environment is what's keeping me living here.
Very much the same. Very comfortable. I always use this term addiction. A couple of my friends who did schooling with me, and they for some reason they started their work here and then they left. Some of them moved to Dubai, some of them moved to UK. They all either want to come back or they have already come back. Oman is literally an addiction. The life is so simple, so easy here that you get time to work, you get time to play, you get time for your family, you get time for your parents, you get time for everything. You can actually design your life so beautifully here without missing out on any important responsibility or commitment. Social life is amazing, excellent. Your friends have time for you. Everyone always pick up your call and ready to talk. which is almost impossible if I only look at the region itself, the rest of the GCC countries. I don't see that happening now. Even my closest friends, when I travel to Dubai, they don't have time for me. Absolutely. And I'm there for 2 days or 3 days.
Absolutely.
And in Oman, even if I have spent like a lot of time previous day and he's sick of me and I'm sick of him, still today, we'll again be okay to meet for a coffee. Culture is changing a little bit, which is very good, but the core values of this country are not changing, which is excellent, which is amazing. So very comfortable life. Family is here. My son is born here. He's also now started going to, because it was a very conscious decision that we will make him study in an Omani school. So he started going to an Omani school. From the culture point of view, we want him to grow as an Omani, So yeah, very comfortable.
Well, I have to echo what everyone's been saying.
Yes.
I love it here. I love the people. I feel safe. I've driven all over the country over the years on my own, alone, doing my mapping. I've never had to fear, for my safety at all. And of course, I've got my 2 Omani grandchildren here. I live with one of them, and I've also got 2 granddaughters in the UAE. So they're quite. I've really got my nearest and dearest in this part of the world, and I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. If I had to go back to the UK, it would be a culture shock. It really would. No, I'm very happy here and I'm very grateful.
I can give you an example. My kids were brought up here and 2 of them are in UAE, my son and daughter. And I remember them telling me, Dada, why are you stuck to Oman? And why you stuck to Diwan? That was then. Even now they have changed. Now they ask me, I think you did the right thing by, being there with them. And so I asked them, come on now, you come to UAE, come to, for a holiday. I said, there's no way I'm coming to UAE because it's a little, for me, I take it to be a cleaner version of Bombay because I'm a Bombay guy, actually. I was born in Bombay. But now they want to come to Oman to relax because Oman is peaceful, very nice, cheap. Honestly speaking, it's much cheaper than even the people, the countries around. If you're talking of food, and I think so. What do you think?
Well, I think it seems to get cheaper, the food.
The cheaper, yeah.
I'm
okay.
amazed when I go to, Carrefour, etc.
Absolutely.
They really bring their prices right down now.
Yes.
Because I think we're getting food from countries near at hand, whereas before we were importing from countries far away.
True.
So now we're importing a lot from Egypt and Iran and India. So they're all neighbouring countries.
True.
And so they really brought the price down.
Yeah, so
Marvelous.
cost of living is much more cheaper here. And that's the reason I wouldn't go from here. If I was allowed to stay, I would. Why not?
Moving on to our last question for today's panel. If you can say one thing to Amani Society right now, what would it be?
I would concentrate on the youth of Oman.
What? Okay. The youth. Mm-hmm.
The youth. Because they are the future, And very nice people again. But I want them to be more proactive in what they are doing. The government is doing so much to first of all, you should consider yourself so lucky to be born in a country like this, and then the government taking care of you, giving you all these facilities. I think you have to take advantage of that, okay? And as I said, be proactive, go for it, because you get a chance only once. You don't get it always. And not that they are doing bad, but I think there's a lot of more they can do. And I tried to implement this when I was in the Royal Estates. to get these youth, I'm a technical guy, so I try to train them, but some or the other they were, I think they took things for granted, Whereas now, I think they are forced to do it, which is good. Whatever the rules have come in now is very good, so that they have to take it. There's no other choice. I mean, expatriates is now history. Okay, so for me, I still say that yes, the youth, go for it, and do your best. You'll definitely succeed. Omanis are brilliant, both the girls and the boys, very brilliant. Use your intelligence. That's all I'll say.
I'll say thank you for having us, and thank you for allowing us to feel comfortable and feel as part of this community. For the youth, I work with the youth, so I agree totally.
Very much.
I agree totally. We have a lot of creative, a lot of talent in the country. And I think they will continue what has been started, yeah.
Well, I think I would also like to, appreciate. It's been a while. It's been years and years. So, had a great time, having great time. So thank you to be so accommodative and to let us be here for so long. And I think we are all working together towards the growth of the country. And I think we have all found our right places where we have to be. And the certain places where we, our expatriates, let's say this way, are not quite needed. That is where the progress is going on with the Omanis and Omani Society. So I think stay friends, all my Omani friends, keep hanging out, keep having shua and all. And very much appreciated.
I would say keep your reputation of being friendly and hospitable. Be proud of your country, be proud of your heritage and its progress. And never waver from that. You're very lucky to be in such a lovely country.
Well, that brings us to the end of this panel, and I want to thank you all so much for being here. It has been truly a pleasure to see Oman through your eyes, and I'm happy that you found a home here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sara.
Thanks so
Thank you
much.
for having us.
Thank you.